What's up guys, we got another tier list today and we're going to be ranking some of the older legendary IEMs that came out more than 2 years ago to see if they stack up in 2024. It's going to be a long one today, so get some coffee and let's just jump into it. So starting with the Z1R legendary bass set, great soundstage, great treble. I think it still competes in 2024. Would I say it's a value pick? No, because we got the Monarch Mark IIIs, got the prestige stuff. We got also the Origin that just came out as like a base IEM as well. It competes, but maybe a little bit expensive. I'm gonna just say it competes because I like it. And next we have the MEST Mark IIs or the OG MEST. It's still like one of the good end games you can get, especially when it goes on sale. You can get it for like 900. Very good imaging, OCD, like you get that like bone conduction, shaking, vibration feeling to the low end. And then we have the Blessing 2 or the Blessing 2 Dusk. These are still good, solid IEMs if you want like a balanced sound, a bit thin, but it's just that Blessing 3 come out, the Dusk came out, and they're on the same price like retail. So because of that, I'm gonna say it's a bit expensive, but it's not like nope, right? It's still decent IEM. And then we have the BLON 03s, the legendary base IEMs. I think they sold over like 10k, 20k, a lot. They sold a lot of these, and they're still pretty good even now because you can find them on sale for like $20 or cheaper. And then after the blondes, we have the original QUARKS DSPs, and these go for like 10 to 15 bucks. They are discontinued out, I think, but still very good if you want like a bass boosted diffuse field. Very balanced sound, very smooth. And then after them, we have the variations. These are still very good. I personally don't like them that much. They're just the mid bass tuck is a bit annoying to me, but I would still say they are value because you can get these for like 400 bucks. They are one of like the smoothest like mid-tier IEMs you can get. Very good treble. So yeah, I would still say they're good for most people, some people, depending on your library. And then after them, we have the ER2XR, the SEs. Now fit aside, because these have like horrendous fit. I think you can find these for like 60 to 80 bucks, and at that price I wouldn't say they're value, but I would say they still compete with some of the other stuff. It's just that the fit is just absolute dog shit. It is what it is. If you know, you know. And then we have the HEXAs. Now these are like newer, older sets. They're like just barely 2 years old, but these are still very solid. You can find them on sale for like 65, 70 bucks. And at that price, I still think they hold up pretty well even till this day. But unfortunately, I can't say the same for the older MOONDROP stuff like the KXXS. Okay, they were good when it came out. I think it was like 200 some or something like that. But nowadays, they were paying 200 for this. You're overpaying. So definitely a nope. Same as STARFIELD. 150, like 120, 150. I would say if you can find them on sale like or used for around like 50, 60 bucks, I would say maybe, but at retail, nope. Same with the ARIA and the ARIA SE. I don't know who still like recommends these on Reddit. Please stop recommending these are outdated. And then this is, oh wait, this is Starfield. Okay, so the KATO, same thing with the KATO. I can't tell because I have the sunglasses on, but the KATO is definitely outdated, overpriced in my opinion. Crin is still selling them on the Hangout. I would avoid it. And speaking of Crin, we have the Midnights. I think these are still solid, but they are expensive for what they're offering. If you can get them for like 100 bucks or cheaper, I would say it's still fine. But as for the original YUME, these are still very good vocal set. They're still my benchmark on the 200. You can get on sale for like 150 bucks. If you're looking for like an all-rounder vocal set on the 200, these would be my pick. And next we have one of my favorite vocal sets, the original MANGRID. One of the best female vocals I heard, period. And although you can't get it now in NA, I think you can still get them on Taobao in China, and at that price, amazing. But I can't say the same thing for the original 10 Hi-Fi T2s. These would go into the nope tiers. Like when they first came out, they were alright, but after re-listening to these are just like not good. You know how the market is in Sci-Fi, especially in the budget realm. So these are just like very outdated. And similarly, the original Timeless, even though it was like a market breaker when it first came out, it is a bit expensive now, especially at 200 bucks when you have the T10s, the FM Pros at like under $100. Still a good IEM if you have it. You don't need to buy a new one, but if you're gonna buy new, these are a bit expensive. The S12s on the other hand are a lot cheaper than the Timeless, and on sale you can get them for like a bit over 100, and at that price I would say they still compete. I wouldn't say they're value because you have the T10s, you have like the FM Pros and other cheaper planar stuff like that. Now the older KZs, I would just avoid all of them. Very shouty, very heavy BA planar, very sharp, just not good, but the CCA CRAs, which is also KZs, these are still value. They are silently retuned, so you can't get the original ones anymore. But if you want like a V-shaped sound, these are, you can get them from like 10 to 15 bucks. But moving up to something more expensive, we have the original Oracles, and these are still very good even till now. One of the best vocal sets you can get, period. Around 500 bucks, these are like a no-brainer if you want like a clean, balanced sounding vocal, slightly airy, very open, very sweet sounding IEM. These are still very good. Same thing could be said with the RS5. Powerful, extended, balanced male and female vocals, just like top tier vocal IEM if you want something like endgame vocals. And then next we have the legendary SONY MH750, the 755s. These are still the best V-shape, budget V-shapes. Although they are a lot harder to find now, even at like $20, $30, they are still one of the best V-shapes under $100. And then next we have the JVC and Drop Collab, the FDX1. They are still balanced IEM. They still compete if you can get them used for like around $100. Solid build quality, clean, balanced sound, and you know, it's a dynamic driver if you want that, very good. And then next we have the original legendary 700s. These were a market breaker, and even now they still kind of hold up. Normal retail price, I would say compete, but they do go on sale a lot, so I'm gonna put them in value. Same could be said for the Zero Blues. On sale you can get them for like 35, 40 bucks, and you know, there's really no other like subwoofer set at around that price. The Con is discontinued, so you know, this is kind of like your only choice. But the same can't really be said for the DIOKOs, even though these were one of the cheapest planar when it came out. Nowadays you have the T10s, you have the F1 Pros, which are just like better. So I would say they are a bit expensive. I don't know if they compete, because on sale like you can get it for 80 bucks. In that case, I would say they do kind of compete, but just like stock wise, they are a bit thin, a little bit too bright in my opinion. But on sale, I'm gonna say they still compete. And the same could be said for all the older FiiO stuff. They are a bit expensive compared to like what you can get nowadays. Now, the OLINA SC and the original OLINAs, I would still say they compete. I wouldn't say their value. I would say you can find some better stuff at around that price for like $100. You know, you got the EM6L, you have like the EW300. However, the same can be said for the TANGZU Oxygen. I think these are just too expensive now, like at around $200. Again, you can find EM6L, EW300, much cheaper and arguably better than the, you know, the Oxygen. So the EJ07M on the other hand is still one of the best mid-fi IEMs you can get. Like I seen it go on sale for under $500. I would say it's still very good, even though it is discontinued now. Apparently LETSHUOER has some like new stuff cooking, so I'm still gonna put it in value for now, just because like it's still a very solid all-rounder at that price. And of course the same thing goes for the original EJ07s, which is still one of my favorite IEMs period. Scales super well, expensive soundstage, holographic. It is discontinued now, I believe, but very good. Now the 2021 Annihilator is still a top tier endgame IEM. Obviously at that price it's not going to be value, but it definitely still competes. Still very good, top of the line if you want like energetic sound, bassy, very good treble, still up there. And I am going to adjust the EJ07s because I do still think they compete, but to some people they're not going to be value because they don't listen that loud, they don't like that type of sound. You know what, I'm gonna put it in maybe, because even though it is my favorite, I can see a lot of people being like, this is just like too dark, it's not worth it, you know. Now the 2021 or 2022 DIVA, QC imbalance aside, obviously still one of the best vocal sets you can get when it comes to female vocals. I'm not gonna put it in value just because of the QC issue, as well as the price tag, which is like 1.6k, but definitely still competes even till now. Still like quote unquote endgame vocal set. Just a heads up on the QC. Same thing with the GAEA. If you want something energetic, you know, something more aggressive, it still competes even though it is more expensive. And of course you have the ELYSIAN QC to worry about, but it does still compete. Lots of detail. Now the SUPERNOVA on the other hand is still one of the best treble IEMs you can get under $1,000. You want something smooth, something airy, slightly warm leaning, these are it. Fantastic treble. Now the Hana 2021 is still competitive. You want like a basic set, if you can find them used for around 100, like $100, 150 bucks. Same could be said for the ICO OH10s. These are very good V-shape. If you can find them on sale for around 100, 150 bucks, again, still very solid sets. And again, same thing could be said for the original Wuzitians or the Heydays. These are still very solid planar IEMs. If you can find them for 100 to 150 bucks, still good competitive sets. If you want something bassy or if you want something like cleaner and like more bright, go for the Heydays. And as for the Zen's top, these are still a solid all-rounder. If you want something like brighter, a little bit bassy, a good all-rounder, these are still good. I saw these on sale for like 400 to 450 bucks. They are like not as valued because you have the EM10s, you have the Pilgrim, you have the High 4s, the T Pros. If you have them, you don't need to buy new ones. They're just still competitive. And the same thing could be said for the up. You want something balanced but still bassy, very good bass texture. Beryllium DDs, these are still competitive even though they are a bit pricier. Now as for the IE600, these are still very detailed, very, you know, if you want something treble heavy, these are still very good. The bass is pretty solid on these as well. I seen these on sale for around 500 bucks. And at that price, even though it's not like, a value IEM, they are still competitive. You do get a lot of detail in the treble. So still, solid set if you want something slightly V-shaped. Now, the original Titan S, on the other hand, is a bit expensive now, in my opinion. You have the EW300s, that's just way better, EM6Ls. At like that 80 to 100 price point, you have the EA500 LM. Can't believe I forgot about that. So the original Chu, on the other hand, even though it's not value like the 700, I do like the original Zeros a little bit better. They are still very cheap IEM. If you get them for like 10 bucks, they're still kind of competitive, right? So it's just that sound wise, you do have better stuff like the 700s, the Chu 2, obviously the direct successor to the original Chus. But the original Warner, on the other hand, actually ages very well. I would take these over the 700s, the CRINACLE Zeros. They are still very good if you want like a clean vocal set. You can get these for like 10 to 15 bucks. Now, as for the KIWIEARS Condensa, sound wise, I do like them around the same as the Warners, but they are like double the price. So I'm gonna say somewhere around in the compete tier. They are better than the Chus, but they're not as like value based as the TANGZU Warners. Now, the QKZ HBBs are still the go-to basic starter sets. They are very good. 15 bucks. Can't really beat these, still holds up even now. But the Melees, on the other hand, are a bit expensive now. Actually, would I put in a nope? Yeah, expensive is fine because they are still on the cheaper side. However, the same can be said for the Kais. These are just avoid these if you can. For 80 bucks, they are a bit overpriced. Even though the build quality is really good, it is a bit too dark, a bit too smooth for me personally, even though I know Dave is gonna really like them. But I would just avoid these for now. Now, as for the HBB Mahinas or the original Moonlights, some people might like these a lot because they scale very well. It has a clean sound, pretty like relaxed, smooth tuning, but it is very expensive. It's like 600, 700 bucks. If you really dig the tuning, I would say maybe it is still pretty good. But for most people, probably a pass. And as for the older Empire stuff, obviously it's going to be a bit expensive in my opinion. It is Empires. They are just overpriced by definition. It is still like very good IEMs. You want like an endgame, fun, energetic, basic sound. They are still good. You don't need to buy new ones if you already have them, but you got a lot of competition nowadays. Same thing with the older Queen of Audio stuff. I would say just avoid these because you can find much better stuff nowadays. Even like the newer Queen of Audio stuff is just much better around its price. And then you also of course have all the other hybrids and the tribrids under 300 bucks now. So yeah. Now as for the Twilight and the Zen Pros, if you want like a single dynamic driver endgame, these are still top of the line. They are a bit expensive, but I wouldn't say they are overpriced because there's nothing really like them given the staging and the ventilation. Still amazing single dynamic drivers. Now as for the older THIEAUDIO stuff like the Monarchs, the Excalibur, Clairvoyants, these are still competitive sound wise. They are discontinued, but they are still very solid IEMs. If you already have them, I don't even think you need to get new IEMs because they still hold up pretty well. But I can't really say the same thing for the older legacy stuff. They are a bit expensive now because you have the Hype series, you have all the SimGod stuff, the Novas at around that price point. However, the Symphono Meteor, on the other hand, is still a very competitive set. If you want like a warm, bassy, very meaty set with like airy treble, these are still very unique even at 500 bucks. I wouldn't say they're value because tech wise they're not amazing, but still very competitive. Same thing with the original SA6 and the Ultras, still competitive, still very good. I wouldn't say they're value because you have the Mark IIs and like the hype stuff and the SA6 ESCs now, but if you have them, they are still very good sounding IEMs. Similarly, the Campfire Andromedas 2020, these are like a unique set. They are a bit pricey, but because like what they do with the staging and stuff like that, I would say they're still competitive because it is more unique sound signature. However, the same thing can't be said for like the older Campfire stuff. Some I would say even just avoid. Probably top of nope. And you can also make an argument for the older Kinura stuff. This is the Kinura Norn, but I would say the older Kinura stuff is at least better than the Queen of Audio stuff. So I'm going to put it in, it's expensive, but the sound is more unique. It still holds up. Like the plating is just also like super beautiful. So because of that, I'm gonna say it's expensive, but not necessarily like straight up just avoid. If you can find them on sale and you like the look, you want to try like a unique sound presentation, the older Kinura stuff is still okay. And as for the original MIM Dark Magicians, obviously you can't find them anymore, but these are still one of the best single dynamic drivers I can find at 500 bucks, or like in the used market, it's usually around like 400 to 350. At that price, kind of hard to beat for a single DT and for what it does. So OG Dark Magicians, still a legendary set. Same thing with the original Helios. I would actually put these at value just because like similar with these Supernovas, these have better treble than these Supernovas. They still one of the best 1K IEMs you can get if you want treble, better than the Monarchs. Now as for the SA, these are still pretty capable IEMs, pretty good all-rounder. If you want something clean, something, you know, balanced, they are still very good. However, you do have the Oracle Mark IIIs, you have the Baji, you have the Origin, you have the 700 acoustics, stuff like that. I want to say it's like overpriced. It is definitely more pricey, but if you find them on sale, I would say they are still a solid set of, you know, IEM. And then lastly, we have the infamous, the legendary U12Ts, which some have regarded one of the best, you know, endgame IEMs. I think they are a bit overhyped. I would even put it into maybe, but I know most people are going to say they're still very competitive. I'm going to say they are still very competitive, even though I like the Condensa 12s better. And then obviously you have the Monarchs for if you want value. But in terms of pure sound and technical performance at 2K, I think it sits just right. It trades blows with the Condensa 12, which is also $2,000. So because of that, I'm gonna put it in the, yeah, it still competes. It's still like a good IEM, but even though I just think the vocals are a bit too scooped out. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. A lot of IEMs, so we had like 70 IEMs today, but you know, I hope this was something fun. Let me know how you guys would rank this and where like you guys would change it. They're not in like any particular order. I'm not gonna bother like rearranging them, but there you go. Old legendary IEMs. Right, my throat is pretty much done now, so yeah, that's it for this video. I have the Moondrop, Cadence, and the Concerto coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see everyone in the next one. Shout out to Rarks Cat, Dom Q, Star Buccaneers, Discal Scaldus, B_Urac, Mystic Spoon Attack, Oh Really, Walker Standard, User, Ernest, Patrick, Bellcell Kel, Polly J, Mr. Gorillas, Anton Risto, Gis Sangyan, Ed Dunlap, Christopher Jackson, Name, Henry Claudia, Son of a Horse, 777ZK, Ben Thompson, Asher, Jab, Obi, iComment87, Contain, Guava Juice Gains, Triple Well Extended, Wizard, Yayan, Frickalicious, Luigi, Bakasuka, and Ricardo. Thank you guys so much.